Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome to Doing the Thing podcast. Today on our show, we have Anna, who is a really awesome rafter. She is also quite funny and has been found bleaching her chacos at least once a season. So welcome, Anna.
Hi, good to be here. Thanks, Scott.
So Anna, tell us about you and how did you get into outdoor ed or even just the outdoor industry in general?
Probably not super rare, but I started in camps and leading trips for summer camp. Honestly, didn't have all that much outdoor experience before I was leading trips for summer camp, which is an exciting way to start. Led to some good humbling moments. Over time, I gained more outdoor experience. I got into river guiding, and that definitely changed the trajectory of my life. And from there, sort of realized I wanted to kind of combine more of those things, do some teaching and outdoor stuff, and found outdoor education that way.
What was your trajectory before you found river guiding?
I worked on political campaigns. I was going door to door, getting volunteers and organizing events for political candidates. And it turns out you can get so burnt out on that you totally change the entire trajectory of your life.
So were you doing that with the intention to be a politician or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely never to run for office myself. The goals were always to do politics, but never live in DC and never run for office, which maybe should have been a sign that the whole thing wasn't
Maybe.
But I had fun on campaigns. It was exciting and dynamic, and you worked really hard and met a lot of cool people and could see the results of your work, which is honestly a lot of the similar things I find in the outdoor industry, which is kind of cool.
So you're working 16-hour days and knocking from door to door and whatever else they do on a campaign. You're like, why do this?
It's seasonal work with all the downsides of uncertainty. Where's my next job? Where am I going to live? Except instead of doing fun, cool stuff, you get yelled at by strangers and show the candidates who you only half believe in.
So were you what were you doing in the? So you talk about it in seasonal work. What were you doing in the off season?
I was in college. I kind of did politics. I took a year off of college for the election in 2020. Yeah. And so I was in school mostly. Sometimes I would do that stuff while I was in school, but I was full-time committed to that campaign. And then at the end of it, thought I'd just go ski bum for a while, and things got started there. Got a little carried away, and it's years later.
All right. So where was the first place that you ski bummed?
In Tahoe. I was a lifty at Alpine Meadows. It was awesome. One of the best winters of my life.
Did you know how to ski before you went there?
I did. I wasn't great, but I could get down anything. That was the perfect starting point. I could ski all the time that winter, and I got a lot better and had a lot of fun with it. Made a lot of ski friends. It was super fun.
So then what happened to get you into the rafting world?
I didn't want to leave Tahoe, because who would want to leave Tahoe? I was doing a summer job and had heard a little from there's other lifties who are raft guides, and that sounded really cool. I didn't realize it was a thing I could do. That world was incredibly foreign to me. Because of the previous COVID summer, they were super desperate for raft guides. I had a good in, signed up for guide school. It wasn't that good, but they really needed people, so I figured it out.
I mean, at least you were on top of it enough to go to a guide school.
They wouldn't hire you without that. They could hire you with no CPR, first aid, or anything, but I could get down the river sometimes. Everything goes downstream eventually, so just isn't always in the boat.
So what class of river was this? Was this class 2, class 3?
Yeah, it was class 2, 3. It was pretty small volume, really technical river, which was, I think, a good way to learn, because it was all paddle guiding, and it really beat you up if you were not doing it right. If you were not on your line, you were perched on a rock. It's exhausting to get yourself off of rocks and then catch up with the trip all day, every day. So you get good at it, so you don't have to do that all the time.
So you went from getting stuck on a rock every other bend to where'd you end up in terms of your progression by the end of that summer?
I got a lot better. I definitely got stronger. That was a big hurdle, not having the strength from not doing that stuff ever. Learning the lines, anticipating, like reading your crew a lot, because, I'm not like, I can't do it all on my own. Gauging how effective your crew would be to call commands and when to call commands and how to hype them up to respond the way you need in big rapids. That was definitely a big change. I flipped boats for sure, but I flipped a lot fewer by the end of the season.
Was this a place where it was like everybody at some point flips a boat during the season?
Not everyone. There were definitely some very good boaters there. The rivers were like, that's part of the fun. It's like encouraged the like flip for tips thing. It was not that level of like everyone flips, but no one was getting mad at me for flipping. It was kind of like, hey, it's all part of the fun. It's going to happen, which I think honestly was really supportive because I would have just been really hard on myself and quit otherwise.
That's good.
The most common spot have a huge calm pool afterwards, and the first few boats with a weight to pick people up if there were swimmers. I guess we managed the risk of it.
It's also helpful to have a really forgiving spot after your flip portion. So you finish that summer and you're just addicted. You're in love. You're like, I don't want to be anything else anymore.
Kind of. I kind of thought that was the only, I was like, this is like a weird interlude from my life, like back to normal business. I went back to college and was just like, it opened my eyes, my more normal life again. I was like, oh, that's not, like, I don't want to keep doing this. That wasn't just a phase. I got to go do more of that. After a few months in college, I was applying to Raft guy jobs for the next summer.
You're like, oh, this is just a phase. And then you got back to your typical life and you're like, what am I doing right now? This is silly.
There was a day or two that fall where I found some whitewater kayaking groups and gone out on the river. I got in the car afterwards and cried of happiness. And I was like, oh, that's a sign. Like, this is where I've got to be.
That's incredible. So then how did you get into outdoor ed, or like what brought you to outdoor ed then?
So I was river guiding in the summers and truly had no idea what to do the rest of the year. I worked one of those science camp type outdoor ed jobs. I remembered summer camp and I really found that rewarding. And so I was like, teaching outdoors, like that sounds cool. And plus minuses to that job, probably more minuses than pluses. But I was finding how rewarding it was to teach and help students experience the outdoors. And I eventually found Deer Hill, which is the main place I've worked outdoor ed since then. Like the only expedition student trips I've worked.
Right. Can you go ahead and tell us what your first trip was like?
At Deer Hill?
Yeah, at Deer Hill.
So my first Deer Hill trip was with 3 really driven women co-instructors. They all had different roles, but essentially 3 really driven, experienced, inspirational, badass women. One of your further questions is, what is your hardest trip? I think it was this one, because I just couldn't keep up. They were all thinking 6 steps ahead, and I had never run a trip like this before, so I was really reactive and didn't know how to show up at all. But I learned so much. It was a really incredible trip.
What was your biggest takeaway from that trip?
Honestly, the answer is that's what a trip looks like. I've never seen a full trip. I got the gist of how the day-to-day went, what students are involved with. I just learned the nuts and bolts of it because it was pretty foreign to me.
Follow-up question. Was there anything looking back now that those instructors did that you're like, oh, I have to do it this way now?
It's January and I haven't done a trip in a while. Kat in particular, the TL for the trip, is very type A and really has a lot of systems. I find myself wanting to do things the Kat way and like, Kat did it like that, I want to do it like that. And it's like, oh, there's so many, but it's all like little details and I can't remember right now. But bigger picture, she's hilarious and had this way of being funny and serious. This helped build connections with students. She knew them all before the trip, so it's a little different, but Yeah, just kept it fun and learning and gained trust and all kinds of things, which was really cool.
I've also got to work a trip with her, and it's like very cool to like see her do that, and also just like there's like definitely this like expectation that I had coming into that trip of like, oh, it's gonna be like so dialed, and it like is, but also it was like this weird like very dialed but also super chill. Like she wasn't really grinding it at all at that point, but it was like super fun to see. Did you teach any lessons on that trip at all?
Not much. The students were there on a geology trip and were doing presentations throughout the trip. They did a lot of the lessons for each other, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I definitely did give presentations in front of the students and blacked it out because it was a disaster. I take a lot of notes, and anytime the other instructors were doing stuff, I still have them and I still like read them before trips of like, that's how you frame that. And like, I will take little phrases from people. I like steal everything from other instructors. And so the first trip having to do it without being able to steal from anyone, it was so embarrassing.
You just have a fire hose coming at you of like, I can only imagine how many notes that you would take from them for your first trip.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I slept for 2 days at the end of that trip. 2 days straight.
So what's been the favorite moment then for a trip for you?
Let me think. I was pretty intimidated by running circle for a while, just like an evening circle, talk about your feelings. I did a program as a student where we had circle and I hated it. I tried to start an insurrection to get rid of circle. When it came to leading it, I was like, oh my God, I'm not the circle person. How am I going to do this? My first season, it took a while. I stole a lot of questions directly from other people from those notes and things. It was very helpful. One of my later trips that season, I remember doing a circle that went super well. It felt like people really dug in and challenged themselves to speak more, which was a cool thing to feel like I facilitated. After that, they had their own circle where they were like, we have so much more to say. We just want to talk with each other. And it was like, whoa, like I said a thing that led to all that. And now they're hashing out these things that they didn't feel comfortable saying to each other, didn't know how to verbalize this morning. So that was really cool.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You did it. I think that's just part of the Deer Hill checklist, so to speak. I feel like, or the bingo card of like, get your first, like really like that facilitate a circle that really has a huge impact that reverberates. That's my favorite, one of my favorite things about Deer Hill in particular. What's been your growth over time? What has been the impact of outdoor work on you?
I think it's been the most empowering thing in my life, having these outdoor experiences. When I do a big personal trip or work a really difficult work trip, I feel amazed that that's a thing I can empower myself to do. And then, yeah, I feel like in a lot of moments with students, I'm like, what? How am I supposed to respond? Like, what is going on? And then once in a while, I handle it in a way that I'm kind of proud of. I said a thing that clicked, and it's really cool to be like, I can have an impact on people that's like positive. To see that really directly has been very empowering for me.
Do you feel like growing up that you haven't necessarily had an impact or never felt like you had an impact?
I've never felt like I had an impact, but I don't think I ever had as big an impact as I have doing wilderness trips with people.
Do you think that what are the words here that I'm looking for? Do you think that that's been the biggest surprise for you, that you were able to have a big impact and you wouldn't necessarily have thought that you would have ever had an impact that big?
I think so. Does it matter that I'm there and doing anything, or is it just that I'm facilitating people being in the wilderness and the wilderness is magical and inspires things? There are moments where like, I said that thing and like I saw that have an impact, but like yeah, I don't like whether it's me as a person or it's just like me as like a body that can facilitate these experiences. Like I, yeah, it's really like I don't think I thought I would get to like witness changes so much. I'm sure I've had an impact on people in other ways, but I just like haven't seen it, and I get to like watch it happen, which is kind of cool.
The feedback loop is so much shorter. You say the thing and you see the impact immediately.
That's a really good way to put it.
Versus like, well, of course you're a person and you exist. You do make an impact. How much do you feel that impact? It can be a real question for people. So if you weren't doing river guiding, what do you think your life would be like without it?
Like if I never found,
Yeah, like if you had like never like I don't know. You can say you went into the ski thing, you just went back to your typical life. What was the trajectory you were on?
I was gonna keep doing campaigns. I graduated right around the midterms and would have gotten a job that summer working on a campaign. I knew I was getting tired of being like working so directly with people. I've like started trying to like learn a lot of the data stuff, maybe doing data for campaigns. I might have gone to law school. I was a political science major who was pretty lost, so that's pretty typical. Could have been in law school right now. Talk about having an impact. I'm glad I don't know. Haven't had to figure that out.
I just appreciate that you were a quote unquote lost political science major. You didn't really know, because I think that's how I fell into this. I didn't know. I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't really know what I wanted. So as far as the impact that you're seeing, can you tell a specific story of the impact on a student?
Oh, here's a good one. It was a like high water deso trip, and there was a student, one of those daredevil kind of kids. He was a big skier in his normal life and was kind of a daredevil there too, and I'd yet to like in any major way like face the consequences of that, which is all part of the process. And he got really into duckying on the trip. There was one rapid where like, you know, we saw he like fully had the skills to like handle the rapid, and we were talking through the line with him. We're like, yeah, so the one spot you don't want to go is like on the right side. Like, watch us, follow us. We're gonna not go to the right side. There's a big hole you don't want to hit on the right side. He was like, sick, we're gonna go to the right side. And he just went right for that hole. There were two students in the ducky, his best friend and him. And it was a gnarly big water hole where he was like, his friend was in a life jacket, obviously, and still got recirculated before he popped up and got flushed out. We had this moment of like, I forced us into this situation after being told not to, and now I'm watching him get sucked under. For him, it was the first time he felt that these activities have risk. He was super frazzled from the whole thing, shaking, didn't want to get back in the ducky, super freaked out the whole day. And so talking through it with him and processing that whole experience with him through the trip. There were other swims along the way on the trip, but by the end, like the last day, he got back in the ducky for the first time, and seeing him figure out what the risks were and managing the risk and benefit gave him a new perspective on it, and also gave him a moment to be brave and push through his fear and not just be like, that was scary, I never want to do that again. It's like, that was scary and worth it.
And you're like, no, that's not what you're supposed to learn.
No, you can learn that it's scary and worth it.
I guess so.
That's like my whole experience of rafting. Terrifying.
And I'm never gonna do that again. What rapid was this?
There's like two Joe Hutch rapids. The second one's like the big one.
The first one?
Where it's like super easy. There's a good V going the wave train. It's wide open. Totally doable.
So you didn't know this kid was gonna hit that hole, right?
The whole trip he had been in the ducky and was doing great, listening to our beta. It was so intentional. He heard it and turned to his friend and was like, we're not doing that. We're going to go to the right side. It was a big, scary hole. It was not like a frowny face. Like,
right. It wasn't
so consequential. It was scary consequential, not like real, like
You're gonna remember this scary,
yeah,
not like
it's like not going to cause permanent harm. It's just scary.
it's just gonna be scary. That's really cool though. Is there any other general things that you feel like you see the impact of outdoor ed on students, or even the guiding world of what clients get out of it?
I think this comes up in both guiding and sometimes in outdoor ed. Girls or sometimes mothers of girls get really excited to see me guide. I feel like I see a spark or the level of whoa, which is very weird to be like, I'm a role model for people. I don't have a real job. I'm doing nothing. But I think people, I don't know. I never saw women. I didn't know this whole world existed, but I definitely wouldn't have thought that it was something I could do physically, that I could whitewater raft. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought I could live outside the way I live outside now. Not that it's so crazy that a woman does it, but I think like it is just like always helpful that like to have more models of that. And I think I've seen that arc with students and girls on my trips feeling more capable in what they can do, which is cool.
They're like, well, if she can do it, then I can do it.
That's the bar.
You're a very competent rafter. The image in my head is like the introduction of all the guides, and you're like kind of like over off to the side, and you're like, I can do this. Like it's a really low bar.
What I'm going to keep inside.
Yeah, right. You want to let it slip after they tip you.
Totally.
So how many seasons of outdoor ed have you done? Have you only done, is it only been 2, or is it?
Yeah, 2 at Deer Hill, 2 expedition trips. I do short seasons.
Why is it that you do short seasons?
I love river guiding. I make more money river guiding, and I love it. If I could do more of both, I would, but
Summer kind of. So if you had a magic wand and you could revamp how outdoor ed was done, what would you do with it?
oh, I think one of the problems is people cycle through it really fast. It doesn't have much of a career path and doesn't have a lot of people who really stick with it. Like it's a difficult thing to make your whole life. I think if there were a way to professionalize it more and make it something people could prioritize and stick with more, I think we were talking about this before, but you just learn so much when you have a chance to really intentionally improve and change how you're doing things. Aren't just thinking about like, how do I get through the day and what are the next steps, where is the next camp? Like when that stuff can like stop being at the forefront of your mind, you're better at it. I wish there was more of a chance for that. I think that would leave more instructors who are totally present and able to facilitate the best trips possible.
That's great. That's awesome.
I bet you've gotten an answer like that before.
I have gotten an answer like that before. Very much so. We probably are thinking about that same person right now. Maybe not. Did you have any other things that you'd like to share as far as your experience in outdoor ed and cool things that you've done, or I don't know, like moments that you're like, this needs to be shared?
Nothing really comes to mind. I'm in January brain and like I'm forgetting about all the stuff in outdoor ed.
So, go ahead.
I don't know, nothing.
Okay. So what are you doing right now? What are you doing for your off season?
I have been skiing a little bit. I extended river season a lot and went really far south, so it would last as long as it could. Till after Thanksgiving, I was guiding. I've been skiing for like 6 weeks or so, and then I'm going on a Grand Canyon trip in a couple weeks.
Ooh, a Grand Canyon trip. What is this, number 2 for you?
Number 2. Yep.
Oh my gosh. You're really in it, that's for sure. All right. Are you ready for a few rapid fire questions?
Sure.
What is your favorite on-trail food? It can be backpacking, river, anything. Trail is
Definitely a
the
river
broadest
food because
one.
we eat better on the rivers. I like curry, lots of veggies, maybe some tofu or chicken, like warm bowl.
What is your favorite meal to cook on a river trip?
I like cooking breakfast. Bacon, hash browns, scrambled eggs. It's awesome when people wake up and you've got a full big breakfast going and you're drinking coffee, looking at the river, flipping hash browns.
If you could have any condiment come out of your belly button, what would it be?
Like hot sauce.
What is your favorite get to know you question?
You can't ask this one too early because you have to be really annoying about asking for details, but what's your ideal breakfast? It tells you a lot about people. So I guess it's not immediate get to know you, but in the first couple days,
Okay.
it's like magical.
What is your ideal breakfast then?
It actually changes every time I ask it a little bit because otherwise it would be boring. But right now it would be like a perfect buttermilk pancake with wild blueberries. So they're like the little ones, cooked in enough butter that it has the crispy rim around the pancake, with a side of raspberries and mango, and a huge cup of black coffee and fresh squeezed orange juice.
Favorite place that you've ever been?
Favorite place I've ever been. A really cool place I've been, the Child's Glacier on the Copper River in Alaska. It was pretty epic. You can camp across the river from this glacier that is actively calving. We just sat there for a day watching the glacier calve and watching the waves that came off of it. It never gets old. It's unbelievably epic.
Holy cow.
And there's like
That
schools coming up because you're really close to the ocean.
Are you on river right or river left?
You're on river left and the glacier's on river right. Why?
I just needed to know for my own mental image. I imagined I was on river right.
There's an abandoned bridge and you can walk across the bridge. You actually can walk up onto the Child's Glacier. You can walk back there a lot of different ways, but it's mostly abandoned.
All right, final question. Do you have any places on your bucket list that you're looking to go to next? Besides the Grand Canyon for a third time.
Second.
Well, you go on the second and then you're looking forward to the third.
I would want to go back a third time. I kind of want to go everywhere. I got a pack raft recently, and there's a lot of river trips, particularly in Alaska, that are really exciting to me. The Gila River in Arizona or New Mexico sounds really cool. The Lacknaw, Glacier Creek, a couple rivers in Alaska, that would be really cool pack raft things and multi-sport trips.
Well, it looks like you're going to be in the river world for a long time if you're going to try and hit all that stuff in Alaska. And
there's no outs.
I'm jealous that you're going on the Grand again, and thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me.